Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north. So it's that time of the month when we have a look at what's blooming. So for now, it's what's blooming in January, and I'm also going to take you around and have a look at some of the greenhouse news and some of the other developments that's going on at the moment. So it's kind of two-in-one video, if you like. So let's jump in. And we are in. Okay, so as I say, this is a what's blooming in video, and we'll also have a look at other things that's going on. So I've just realised that I've not actually watered my Boston fern for rather a long time, and you can see what happens if you don't. It begins to crisp up and send these crispy looking fronds, but they're such tough things that, to be honest, I'm not really that bothered. I've given it to water now. It's quite humid over this side, so it should be okay. It's not my absolute favourite thing. I think there's a place for these, and I think they look a lot better when they're hanging, don't they? But it's okay, I'll keep it going for now. It adds a little bit of greenery. So I was thinking about this one. Now this one is I forget what it's called, neostylis Lou Sneary, and it absolutely loves it in this greenhouse for some reason. It just seemed to have the right conditions. So I was thinking of actually getting the blue one. That's the white one. It was meant to be a blue one, seeing as it grows so well. So that might be something that I might do in the future. Past the Tradescantia looking really nice. I do appear to have saved this now. It was just simply that it needed a lot more water than I was giving it. I moved it over. See, I got used to watering it in the slightly cooler temperatures, so I moved it over. Even now, it feels a little bit floppy. I'm going to have to give it another water. At this 18 degrees at the moment, it's really, really lapping up the water. These yellowing parts, they were yellowing before, so I may remove those. But yeah, it's looking a lot more healthy now. But again, as I say, it's losing a bit of turgidity there. So what else? We've got a bit more greenery here. So these actually are from last year. So these are two Hippeastrums from last year. They're not like name varieties. They're just hybrids. So that's got a nice big fat bud coming on it. I can't see one on that one yet, but it won't be long. That one was always later, which is great because you get like the successional blooms. This one was the new one. This was the Hippeastrum Papillo. I know other people's have bloomed, but mine was later because obviously I bought mine later. But that's got a nice bud on it there, so I'm looking forward to that. This Begonia Listada, I'm happy to say this is happy now that I've brought it over into the warm side. It was definitely struggling at 12 degrees. It's looking really nice now. Again, with the Begonia Whitey Eye, that's also beginning to come back. I mean, look at these two Cattleya. I expect these to bloom pretty soon. That one definitely. That was another Begonia, that silver lace. That lost all its leaves in the cooler side, but again, it's coming back to me now, so I'm quite happy with that. So over here, the bulbophyllum definitely does like to be wet all the time, and that's actually absolutely bone dry, so that needs watering. I know I've quite recently shown all my Nepenthes. This Plumeria is keeping its leaves for some reason this winter, but if I take you over to see the other one, this one has systematically lost each leaf. I thought it would keep them this year because it did seem to be holding on to them. You wouldn't think with the grow lights it would do, and it's certainly not cool, but it just must be the intensity. It's just not getting the intensity that it needs. This is still looking absolutely fantastic. So this is Miltoniopsis Newton Falls, shown it many times. So that's one spike on it there. We've got another spike there, that's 2. There's another one there, that's 3. Another one there, that's 4. And would you believe there is another one which I destroyed down there somewhere, just down there. And unfortunately, because it was kind of stuck between the leaves, so I thought I'll just release it, and in doing that I broke it off. Oh dear me, never mind. Some massive pictures here. Look at that. I think this is definitely my biggest picture on this Rebecca Soper cultivar. I mean, that is a huge picture for me anyway. I've not had one so big before, so that's just about to pop. I'm definitely putting loads. I don't know if you saw my carnivorous plants video, but these are definitely putting loads more on than they've ever done at this time of year. That one a lot more than that one, which is exactly the same plant. This is losing some of its older pictures. A new one there. I don't know if there's any more. There's another new one at the back coming there. It's only a tiddy one. This mounted phlebodium seems very, very happy now. I think that's quite a nice little talking point there. Begonia luxurians, again, didn't like the cold. It's losing another leaf there by the looks of it, so I guess temperature played a part, but even though it's got the grow lights, this one is only a 600 as opposed to 1,000. I don't know what those numbers mean exactly. I think they're just kind of abstract numbers that the light manufacturer has come up with, but they do signify some kind of difference in light intensity. So this one isn't as bright as the other one. I don't think the lumens or what is it, nits? I don't know what it is for light. I don't know what the measurement is. Beautiful no ID cattleya. This is the first time it's bloomed for me since I bought it well over 12 months ago. I don't know what it is. It's a no ID one, but absolutely beautiful fragrance on it. So I'll open that up if anybody knows what that might be. It's nice to have a name for these things, especially if you just bought a new label machine. It's nice to be able to put on what it is. This still going. I can't even remember what it's called. So this is, I don't even know how you say that. Bracidostele gilded tower mystic maize. I believe that is like a hybrid of about 6 or 7 different genera of plants. And I did put something like this on my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, get over into my description and you'll be able to find a link to my Instagram. So you'll see lots of beautiful photos. That's coming off, definitely. I won't leave that on. This is the problem when you go around looking at things. You want to start tidying things up. So that's going to get a repot when we're finished. But it's still in bloom. Me kind of thoughts were when I found out that this was made up from 6 or 7 different genera. It's gorgeous. There's no scent to it. It's a lovely bloom, but it's like a Frankenstein plant, isn't it? It's not really. It would never actually occur in the wild. I think the chances of that happening are infinitesimally small. Is that a real word? Infinitesimally? Sounds right. It's very small anyway. I don't think it could happen. It's been done in a test tube in a lab, and that kind of puts a different aspect on things for me. I do wonder whether I should try and focus a little bit more on species and natural crosses rather than these Frankenstein plants. I don't know, I think a lot of growers tend to go that way, don't they, as they develop on the journey of growing. So that little bloom there, I do have a name for this one now. It's still carrying on, just about. Phalaenopsis long pride gold staff. Thanks to Michael for that one. It's been in bloom for a year and it's going to start again. And what actually made that come really, really good was getting rid of the moss. I had too much moss on it. It's looking better now. Some of those yellow leaves dropped off and these leaves are looking a lot nicer. In bloom. What else is in bloom? Let's have a look. This is one is always in bloom. Again, there was some chat about what this was called. I did have a big long name for it, but it turns out that name, there is a part of this plant, I think it's the Laeliocattleya Janet Sparkle. So this is Epicatanthe Volcano trick crossed with Laeliocattleya Janet Sparkle, but the Janet Sparkle part doesn't seem to exist anymore. Is that a slug trail? No, I think it's just a little bit of nectar. I thought it was a slug trail for a minute. Gosh, I don't ever seem to get out to check on the slugs anymore because it would mean waking Fudge, my puppy, up, and I don't want to wake him up. So I kind of miss things. So there may well be slugs dotted around the place on a night. So anyway, it seems when you do a search, it seems that the Janet Sparkle hybrid doesn't seem to exist, but yet when you search for this exact plant there are lots of references to it where people have it, so it must have existed at one point, but for some reason it doesn't anymore. So I don't know. And the Epicatanthe is now something like Epicatanthe, something like that. So basically, I'm just going to call it Bob because, frankly, it's just too difficult to come up with some kind of name for it. It's very frustrating because it's nice to get the absolute, to know exactly what it is you've got. But this is the thing with hybrids, they get so complicated and so complex, and practically none of them are something that could even remotely occur in the wild, even if all the conditions were absolutely perfect for it. So it does make me wonder. Well, anyway, I mean, it's a beautiful plant. It would be nice to have a bit of fragrance in it, but, you know, you can't have everything. What else have we got? They're still hanging on there. I don't know if there's any spikes coming. Just noticed this spike here. I'm at that stage now where I don't notice spikes from things until like they've already been developing for about 3 months, because that was kind of hidden in that bushy Tradescantia radiole there. So that's Phals going to come. It's just a no ID phal, and it's from that plant there. So that's a nice little phal. This is the first time I've been able to grow phals in this side of the greenhouse, and that's only because I've kept it to 18 this year, whereas last year I let it drop to about 15, 16, and it didn't like that. Oh, well, none of the phals like that anyway. They do like to be above 18 degrees. So yeah, there are still a few little bits of these Mandevilla sanderi hanging on, not so many. I think we're approaching that 6 weeks now. Once they drop off, I know there's a few little buds over there and over there in the corner, but the rest of it, nothing really going on with the rest of it. Oh, he says that, and there's another one over there. But like I say, it's about like February, very early March time. That's when things stop growing altogether. No flowers on the Mandevilla. On the other one that I've got over here, there's nothing on that one at all. I lost one of the branches on it. I've cut that off. And these leaves do look like they're going as well. So I'm hoping, I mean, that's trailing up there. I'm hoping I don't lose it, because that was a lovely white one with a hint of pink. And that, in fact, is what it's called, hint of pink. So that's the warm side. So let's go through to the cooler side, see what's going on over here. So we've got a Tradescantia Maiden's Blush. I did find a really good source of information on Tradescantia, which kind of explained a lot of these things, a lot of these problems I've been having. So if anybody wants to know what that is, just give me a message, send me a message, and I'll let you know what it was. I think it was actually a grower, or like a seller in the US, and he had a load of really excellent information on why they do this kind of thing. So I shall be introducing that into my care. So yes, what else have we got? I know you've seen a lot of these things, but it's what's in bloom. So there's my little Dendrobium cuthbertsonii. All these things need a water, it seems. So this one is Dendrobium sulawesiense crossed with cuthbertsonii crossed with sulawesiense. I'm not going to read all these out because they just go on and on. Oncidium twinkle, looking great, smelling great. Another of the cuthbertsonii hybrids, another one there. This Begonia Curly fireflush doesn't seem to mind these temperatures. I know there's one leaf going a little bit there, but the others seem fine. They seem quite happy in these temperatures down to 12. Epidendrum's coming back into leaf again now, and you can see it must have had some kind of mite. It had to. I mean, look at the growth now that's coming back on that. And that's the only thing I can say to explain for the fact that every single leaf dropped off practically within a month, was that it had something, and I sprayed it and it killed them, and it's coming back again. I think I saw a little white fly then. Oh dear, that's not good news. There's a new one. Well, it's not a new one, it's a new bloom anyway. My Pinguicula cross Tina. So that's a natural cross that occurs in the wild. That one's looking horrendous, we won't look at that one. But it does go into dormancy, so that's what's going on there. This little begonia, eyelash begonia, Boweri, it's going to bloom. See, there's a bloom spike there and another bloom spike there. I don't suppose there'll be anything spectacular. It is more of a foliage plant than anything else, but quite a nice little curiosity. And this was the one that I actually bought it as Masoniana. It's actually Solim mutata, which, to be honest, I actually prefer. So that's okay. I don't mind that. This is nice when it's got the sun on it. It kind of refracts the light. Refract, is that the thing? I think it's refraction. Or is that something to do with through water? I can't remember my high school physics. Silver Jewel, Begonia Silver Jewel, looking nice. That's okay in these temperatures. It's funny how some of these begonias don't seem to mind, and some of them really complain. There's nothing left on the Brugmansia now. Just a few little leaves, few little growths, so I'm not giving it any water. It should be okay. I expect it to come back. This fern, a tiny little bronze leaf there, but again, I think that needs water. That needs watering, because it doesn't have to drink a lot of water, that one. So let's move over. Over here we have a close-up of my Burkii. I mean, that is, how can you not like that? Look at all the nectar on the inside. If you was an insect, you would be so drawn to all that sugary nectar, and then you would end up in there. Let's see if I can show you inside. There you go. Once in, then that's it, you're stuck, and my fingers are all sticky now. Okay, so we know this is always out. This is, and there's another new growth coming on it there. So this is my Oncidiopsis, Bruguera Oncidiopsis. You've seen the cyclamen quite recently, if you watch that. The Sherry Baby's still going, and my Berioda is about to bloom. I did wonder why it only seemed to have the spikes around the sides, on these canes around the sides. I thought, that's strange, because when I bought it, the whole thing was in bloom. But I think what's happening is just some of them are a little bit slower to come than others. So there are spikes on some of these other growths as well. They're just not quite as quick. Not all of them, I have to say. There is like a section in the middle where there's nothing coming. And whether they'll come yet or not, they might do. Fragmopedium Ainsworthii, still at it, ready for its final hurrah, I think. Cyclamen. Gorgeous Oncidium Sotuanum, looking much better than I anticipated for this year. Lovely Twinkle in bloom up there. That one, that Mandevilla's still going strong. You've seen all those quite recently. That's about to pop. And this Pelargonium, it's an ID Pelargonium. This is a better show than it had even in the middle of August. No idea why. Temperatures are a lot cooler. These normally like to bake, but for some reason it's just doing really well in the middle of January, which is a little bit bizarre. My ferns, my phlebodium ferns, I really do seem to have come into their own now, and they are producing new fronds. They didn't like the warmer weather in the middle of summer, as you would expect, but all of them have got quite new fronds on them, so they should start to look really good soon. I'm really hoping this Streptocarpus, this is my unifoliate species Streptocarpus, I hope that starts to bloom for me this year. I'm a little bit torn whether I should order some more Streptocarpus. Oh, and good news, my Drosera, I don't know if you can see there, that's looking really nice now. That's really coming into its own. Again, I've not got it in the best light, really. You can see the kind of shape it's going to be. And I have just received, and I'm really excited about this, some seeds of the King Sundew, Drosera regia, which is a really bizarre and amazing sundew, and it can grow up to 70 centimetres tall. I don't know whether I've bitten off more than I can chew here, but obviously you can't send sundews of that size through the post. They're just too delicate, so you've got to sow the seed of them. And I was reading a little bit about the King Sundew, and it's such an amazing plant. It comes from not only one place in the world, it comes from South Africa, but it also comes from one specific valley. That's the only place it grows in the wild in the world, is this one valley in South Africa, which I think is absolutely incredible, and I'm hopefully going to have some growing in my greenhouse. So I'm very excited about that. So I might do a video on actually sowing those seeds. I mean, for all of, I can't remember what it was, about £5, I can have that plant growing in my greenhouse. It's apparently not difficult for them to germinate. They germinate pretty quickly, so I'm really looking forward to that. Epidendrum ballerina. Again, this is its second blooming this year. I can't remember what month it bloomed, but it was like early in, when I say early, probably springtime in 2020. For lockdown number 1, that's probably when most people remember it. In lockdown number 1, it bloomed, and now it's blooming in lockdown number 3, for us anyway, here in the UK. Oh, and this other begonia. So this one is Begonia fuchsioides, because it looks like a fuchsia. It's got quite a few yellowing leaves. I'm guessing that's the temperatures, and it's roughly about 1.5 meters, maybe. No, about a meter. No, what would you say that is? About 1.25 meters tall, maybe. Well, it's got some nice blooms on it. They're just dropping off there. Yeah, so again, I was talking about news, wasn't we? So I very recently, in fact, today, was having a go at some coya, growing some coya. I believe that coya, so this comes, if you've never grown it, if you've never had it before, coya is from coconuts, and it's just really another way of producing like a peat-like substance. So it's a media, and it would be really good for anything that you would normally use peat for. There's no nutrients in it, and it holds on to moisture pretty good, and it comes in these bricks. So I'm going to do a video on it. There are other videos on it, but this will be mine. It will be my video on it, on how to hydrate it and what to do with it then. So I had a little go of it today, and I've just hydrated. So this was 1 brick, and I've just hydrated 1 brick, but all that needs fluffing up yet. I thought I'd leave it overnight and see if it soaked any more water up. So even if, I know there are other videos on it, but if it helps one person to swap over, so I'm going to give it a go with a few things. I'm going to sow these king sundews, this Drosera regia in it, and hopefully that will be as good as using regular peat. And then I'm not destroying all the peat bogs that we want to try and retain for as long as possible. So one more thing in bloom. So we've still got this. I know one of them's looking a bit sad there, but this Coleogene speciosa is still hanging on, just 2 blooms there, and that's been in bloom for absolutely ages. I still like that. I know it's not a rare plant, but I still do like it. I've seen some really nice Coleogenes that look very similar to that quite recently. So the problem is there are just too many plants, and I've not enough space and not enough time to look after them all. But I don't think we do so bad, do we? We don't do so bad. I've just received a catalogue from Dibley's, which is always a bad thing, because that means that I'm going to spend more money. So the question is, when I get Streptocarpus, do I go and buy some more hybrids, or do I have a look for the species? I think there was 2 or 3 species on the website. I'm not so sure if they're in the catalogue yet. I've not had a chance to look. But one of the species looked really, really nice, and it doesn't have Streptocarpus-like leaves. The leaves were nothing like this. They were really quite small, and they were really pretty flowers, so I might give that a go. It recommended you do it as a hanging plant, so that might be quite interesting. It's always nice to try something new, isn't it? So that's the news and the blooms for January. I know you've seen my Dracula over here, so that's going to need a water. I've not seen any signs yet that it's actually growing. I'm just having a look round there. See, these might be new roots. No, I think it might have come with those actually. So I've only had it a couple of weeks, so we'll see. I've got a big consignment of carnivorous plants due. Some of them are sundews. I've got some Pinguiculas, and I've even got an Nepenthes as well coming. So that'll be nice. I'll be able to have a look at those when they come. So I think that'll do for now. So that's the news, and I'll probably think of something else as soon as I get off, as usual. But I hope you enjoyed the quick bloom tour and the quick little run through of the news. So put any comments in the comments, please. It's great to hear from people. And for now, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.